everybody. Good afternoon or good morning, depending where you are in the world. Thank you very much for joining us for today's Data Science Festival Sandbox session. I'm really looking forward to it. I love these sessions where it's hands-on, actually. We get stuck in. And having seen what the Snowplow team have got planned for you this afternoon, I'm definitely very excited to be here and learn along with you. In terms of that, we're looking to cover a session on building context-aware AI agents with Amazon Bedrock AgentCore and Snowplow Signals. In terms of that, I was just saying to the team behind the scenes that this is our 10th year running the Data Science Festival, which is kind of blowing my mind continually at the moment. We've got loads planned, and it's so cool to have Snowplow with us really early in the year in January. And actually, Snowplow, a forward-thinking company that they are, sponsored the Data Science Festival, I think in our second or third year. And it was awesome getting to know them and the team then, but also seeing what they've done since. And that really does lean into the new Snowplow Signals product that they've been working on and building. I know they've been working on it since early part of last year, January time. And I actually had it, kind of fully released to the full first cohort of initial customers in October 2025. And they are already seeing some real big success. So very exciting times. In terms of that, I did have a little nosy at the guest list before people join today. We've got a really good mix of people, a few familiar names, a few new people, a few people I've worked with over the years as well. But for those that are new, the thing I'll call out, we do aim for it to be fun. We do aim for it to be interactive. I've seen a few people in the chat already saying hello. So Lewis there, hello from Amsterdam. Anas, hello from London. Parikshit from Germany, lovely stuff. Adrian from the mighty Stockport. He's taken the lead with that one. Big fan of Stockport. But it'd be great actually if you can, just as we're about to get the team onto the stage. It would be great if you don't mind, just say hello in the chat. And we'll give you a little bit of a shout out, and it lets the team know that we have some people with us. In terms of that team, I'd love to invite you all to the stage. So Yali, Len, Duncan, if you could come and join us. And I think perhaps now we also have Leo. Do we have Leo with us as well? Look at that, lone emojis clapping on the screen. Here we go. Here come the emojis. So there's some people out there clapping along. Thank you all for being here with us. I'm always, as I say, really grateful when you give up your time, but you give up your time with a session that clearly you have to prepare a lot for. And there's a lot of thought gone into this. So I'm really, really, really grateful with that. In terms of that, maybe fire around and say a quick hello. Normally I do the intros, but seeing I've got you on earlier, I'll maybe come to each of you in turn, and then we'll kick things off from there, Len. But I'll come to you first, Yali. Can you tell the people at home a little bit about yourself, please?
Thanks very much, Dave. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. We're super, super excited for this session. My name is Yali. I'm one of the two co-founders at Snowplow and the Chief Technology Officer, and really looking forward to this workshop, building agents that have perception, can actually see what you're doing on the broader websites where they're talking to you, and use that to deliver a better surface when talking to users. Are super excited about the area, super excited about the workshop. I'm normally based in London. I'm actually in San Francisco today, so it is very early in the morning. This is a nice way to start the day.
Yeah. I thought you were quite quiet as we were preparing, and I did notice you joined with a coffee. So you kept that
just waking up
under wraps. I love it. I think the key thing there straight away, context aware. This is what's exciting me about this whole thing. So looking forward to get stuck into it. Len, I'll come to you next. I know you're going to be heavily involved in delivering parts of today's session. Can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, please?
Yes, thanks. So hi everybody, I'm Len Gomes. I'm a partner solutions architect in AWS. I've been working with Snowplow over a year. I'm based out of UK as well. And yeah, thanks for joining us.
Amazing. Great to have you with us, Len. Duncan, next, please. You're a snowplower, aren't you, Duncan?
Indeed, I am. Hello, everyone. My name is Duncan Evans. I'm a sales engineer. I've been with Snowplow for a little over 3 years now. Yeah, looking forward to getting hands-on keyboard with you all, talking about agents and how Snowplow Signals can provide context to the fun world of agents that are being built.
Amazing. Thank you, man. And last but not least, Leo. This is my first time meeting Leo as well. He's played it super cool. just joined at the last minute, coming in like the hero. Nice to meet you, Leo. Can you tell everyone a bit about yourself, please?
Nice to meet you too, David. I'm Leo Sanchez, sales engineer from Irvine, California. I was a former software engineer for 25 years, so I was doing a lot of AWS during my career. I was really excited to see what you folks are releasing last year, this year, like all these AI offerings, like really excited to like collaborate with this public.
Amazing, man. Amazing. And that leads us in nicely. That is what we're aiming to do on this session. You know, we're aiming to collaborate. Really lucky to have these experts here with us answering the questions. In terms of that, I'll fire through a few of these names in the chat at the same time as saying, as we're going through this session, there is the chat feature. So if you've got a question as you're following along, I think Duncan and Leo in particular are going to be keyboard warriors, sorting you all out as we go. There is also a Q&A feature. So if your question is super specific to the moment, stick it in the chat. If it's a broader question about perhaps where we're going with AI agents or architectures or whatever, stick it into the Q&A. And the format for the session, I believe we're going to deliver 6 labs. And in between each lab, there'll be perhaps a bit of time where we can fire through some of these questions and go from there. Just as we get into it, I did say I'd shout a few people out. So Pratik, joining from Dublin. We've got John, location unknown. I like that, John. I know we know John. That's team John. Come on, John. Bilkin from Wilmslow. We've got someone from Stoke, the mighty Stoke. We love that. Paris. Nick, man, good to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Nick Masker there. Thomas, Victoria, Gary, Clara. So there's a good number of people with us, which is lovely, lovely stuff. In terms of that, I'm gonna get out the way, which is probably what everybody wants and needs. But Len, if possible, if Len, I could perhaps get you to share your screen.
Yes, sure.
As we kick off, as mentioned, Yali and the rest of the team, you're more than welcome as Len's presenting, keep your cameras on. If it's a bit easier as Len's presenting, flick your camera off and get into the chat. Let's go for it. So your screen is looking very, very good. Regular attendees will know I am a fan of emojis. So please can we have some emojis for Len to let him know that
Thanks,
we are ready?
yeah.
There we go. There's 3, there's 6, there's 7. There's more. There's hundreds
There's a lot.
of emojis. So with that, Len, I'm going to hand over to you. I'll be following along in the background with everybody else. If you need anything, I'll jump in, but I'll leave you guys to it. And yeah, wish you all the best for the session.
Okay, thanks a lot, David. And thanks everybody once again for joining us. So just to explain the format of the session, I'll go through a couple of slides that explains a little bit about Amazon Bedrock AgentCore and how that integrates with Signals. And after that, we go through a workshop. Excellent. So it's been fascinating to see how GenAI has evolved into agentic AI. In the beginning, it required more human oversight. The AI assistants, they were created to do more repetitive tasks. That has evolved to AI agents that can achieve a singular goal, but achieve a broader range of tasks. And now I would say that has evolved to agentic AI systems. It uses less human oversight. It's fully autonomous. The idea is that it mimics human logic and reasoning. We've got a vision. AWS is working heavily on AI. We have lots of investments, lots of services. So not only we are building an infrastructure that's capable of support agents, but we are also investing in making it the best place to build, deploy, and scale the most performant agents. We've got a vast portfolio. We provide models, tools, the whole infrastructure, and expertise to build agents. You can experiment with open source tools, build a fleet of sophisticated custom agents as well. Just to name a few services, for example, SageMaker, which is one of our fully managed infrastructure and tools that helps you in each step of the AI model development lifecycle. Bedrock that we'll be using today, it's also another fully managed service. It provides access to foundation models provided by AWS or from third party as well. And that all can be done via API. AgentCore, the one we'll be exploring the most today, which provides you a set of services to deploy and operate agents at scale. So just to summarize this, AWS brings decades of experience building secure, resilient global infrastructure, along with security tools for data privacy, access management, and then you can relay that to create agents in AWS. Our service today is Amazon Bedrock AgentCore. The AgentCore allows you to build, deploy, and operate high-capable agents securely. So security comes out of the box as well to ensure you meet your compliance requirements. You can extend that to any framework, any model, and there is no need to manage infrastructure. That's all managed by AWS. One of the challenges that we have seen is it's relatively easy to create an agent. However, when you need to scale that, bring that to production, and provide, let's say, access to external tools, requests from thousands of users, we see an issue. Let's say bringing scalability to production is a problem. So we've seen that preventing customers to achieve production at scale. For that, we have released the AgentCore. AgentCore offers you runtime and execution environment. You can build, configure, scale infrastructure to deploy agents. You can also have isolation between the agents to prevent data leakage across different agents, for example. Memory comes as well out of the box. So you can enable agents to remember past interactions. You can store and retrieve conversation history, user preferences, and so on. Identity and access control. It's easy to implement fine-grained permissions for agents to access tools, external tools, data sources. You can control access to specific API calls. And another important tool is telemetry. We have telemetry for all AWS services. So this is powered by CloudWatch as well. You can track every agent interaction. You can monitor agent workflow. That can give you a full visibility of the decision making for those agents. Okay, moving on. The AgentCore is it's a comprehensive agentic platform. It has lots of services part of it, of components. We can say it's a modular service that will allow you to mix and match to build an agent. So you don't, for example, if you don't need the browser component, you don't need to use, you can just mix and match to build an agent. We'll go through each of them to understand it a bit better. The AgentCore platform, this is just a high level overall that shows how these components connect together. So the runtime allows you to run any framework. You can have that integration. You can also have LLMs running outside Bedrock. That's also another option. And in line with that, you have the identity, the policy, the memory, observability, and so on. To break that down, let's explain the runtime. So the AgentCore runtime is a secure, it's serverless runtime for deploy and scale AI agents. This is secure by design. You get a Docker file on which you can launch your agent. This communication is done via endpoint, so you invoke the endpoints to for that connectivity. This supports long-running agents that's up to 8 hours. It's the longest in the industry. You can scale to thousands of agent sessions in just a few seconds. And to make it even better, you can have the full session isolation. So we provide dedicated compute, environment, and memory for each session that will prevent data leakage. Memory, another important component. So we offer the AgentCore memory for short-term memory and long-term memory. It eliminates all that complex infrastructure management when it comes to memory. So that gives you full access and control over what the AI agent remembers. For the short-term memory, we call them, let's say, raw memory that can maintain ongoing conversation, current sessions attributes, and for the long-term memory, we also call them intelligent memory, allows you to have session summaries, users, preference, and so on. Identity. We'll be exploring identity. It's part of our workshop. With identity, you can enable agents to securely access AWS resources, third-party tools. For example, if you need to manage access to GitHub, Google, that can be done with identity. It can handle who can talk to your agent, which external services your agent can access. It's compatible with existing identity providers. It has native support for OAuth enabled services, for example, Amazon Cognito, Microsoft Entra, Okta. And the best thing is you don't need to rebuild your authentication flow or migrate users. You can do that integration as it is today. Gateway. The AgentCore gateway allows you to access other endpoints, for example, Lambda functions. The gateway makes its agent compatible for that connectivity. So you can combine multiple tools, for example, APIs, Lambda functions in MCP protocol into a unified endpoint. So that creates that bridge to those tools. Next one, for the gateway, it also comes with semantic search, which is an important feature. So, for example, without semantic search, when you try to list the tools using MCP, the response will be, let's say, 300 tools. But by using the semantic search, it brings what is relevant. For example, create a social media post that returns only for the most relevant tools. The benefits will be the AgentCore gateway automatically indexes tools and gives serverless semantic search. It for sure reduces cost, improves accuracy, improves speed, and just let the agent focus on tools that are relevant for a given task. AgentCore browser. The browser provides a fast and secure cloud-based browser runtime that it's like giving your AI agent human-like web browsing abilities. So it could see websites, click buttons, fill forms, and navigate the web just like a person would. This is also an interesting tool. It's not part of our lab, but you guys can explore that later on if you want. Code interpreter, it's also not part of our tool, but it enables agents to write and execute code securely in a separate sandbox environment. Policy, this was released during reInvent. It can control agent actions, so you can intercept every tool call before execution as defined in those policies. You can control agent access, actions across APIs, Lambda functions, and also third-party services. And it's easy to create these policies. You can use natural language to control access. Observability, it's also another managed service, part of AgentCore. The observability is powered by Amazon CloudWatch. It helps developers or users to trace, debug, monitor agent performance in production, and regardless of the framework, so it can be other framework or the model, you can still trace them. There are plenty of metrics on CloudWatch for your agents. For example, session count, latency, duration, token usage, error metrics as well are also available. We will be able to explore them. Another cool feature is open telemetry. This is compatible with Dynatrace, Datadog, with other monitoring tools as well. Evaluations, it was released last year and end of last year as well. The AgentCore evaluations monitors and provides real-time alerts to catch issues and optimize agents based on real-world user. This is you guys can implement, can enable this and test this feature. Now, bringing everything together, the Amazon Bedrock and the AgentCore, you can mix and match, as I said, to start creating your agents and bring them to production. You can use any framework or model like CrewAI, LangGraph, Strands Agents, the one we'll be using today. It's compatible with MCP protocol, agent to agent. And yeah, there are more features in the Bedrock. For example, guardrails. We won't be exploring them today, but I just wanted to give you an overview. So there it is. So now I'll hand over to Yali just so that you can have an overview of Snowplow Signals.
Thanks, Len. Thanks. So Len's just given you all a great overview of the fantastic tooling that AWS provides to build an agent. And I'll just very quickly walk you through an introduction of Snowplow and then specifically the tools that Signals provides to support building these great agent experiences. So Len, if I can ask you to flip forward to the next slide, please. So just to give you a bit of background on Snowplow and what we do, we help customers, help enterprises, companies collect and operationalize customer data. So data that describes what their customers are doing in their websites, on their mobile apps, smart television, any kind of connected device where you've got kind of consumers engaging with the digital experience. Our technology is used to collect that data and then deliver it in a way that enables those companies to do interesting things with it. And one of those interesting things, and the one we're going to focus on today, is give an agent that's part of that digital experience kind of visibility and understanding of what the user's doing in that digital experience. Now, this is I'm a sort of data person by background. This is a data that's a really exciting data set because when you look at the data, you can see consumers making decisions. You can also see how they make those decisions. You can see sort of second by second and minute by minute what they're doing and all the environmental things that are true at the time that they're making those decisions. And so the data is incredibly explanatory. You can start to understand what influences the user's decision, and it's incredibly predictive. You can use it to really understand user behavior and start predicting what these users are going to do. So it's rocket fuel for AI and agents. But there are a bunch of reasons why a lot of organizations really struggle to get value from this fantastic data set. The first is technical. It's very, very high volume, high velocity data. It's also very heterogeneous. It describes actions that are taken at specific points in time. So you can't apply the traditional statistical functions on it that you can with a lot of other simpler data sets. And then in a lot of big companies, they might have hundreds of different product engineering teams that are responsible for different parts of the digital experience. And each one of those teams is going to be a data producing team in the sense that they're going to create data that describes how users are engaging with their part of the product. And that makes managing the meaning of the data and the structure of the data very challenging, because when you want to build a kind of a complete view of what your consumers are doing, you need to join those hundreds of different data sets across hundreds of different teams. And those data sets evolve over time as the application evolves. So semantics, data quality becomes a real challenge because there's a problem with the data. It's not clear which of those hundreds teams that the problem originates in. So that's a real challenge. And then this data is personally identifiable and it's used for AI. So it's subject to a whole host of compliance legislation, which means a lot of organizations are nervous to work with it. And our job at Snowplow is to solve these problems so our customers can take this data and use it to really deliver excellent customer understanding and customer experiences. So Len, if you can flick through to the next slide, please. So our technologies are set up in our customers or our own Amazon Web Services account. The SDKs that are integrated in the application, we've got SDKs for all different sorts of application environments. The data flows through a data pipeline where it's validated, it's enriched, governance controls are applied. I'll skip over this all pretty quickly. And then that data is streamed into data platforms, so into Lakehouse, I think Amazon S3, Amazon Redshift, into stream processing environment, think Kinesis or Kafka, where it can be used to do analysis, where it can be used to train and trigger machine learning models, and now where it can be used to provide agents with context. And Snowplow Signals, which is our new product, sits at the end of this this pipeline, is specifically geared towards taking this data and taking the relevant preparation steps so the data is turned into context that can be inserted in an agent's context window and provide valuable real-time meaning. So we're taking that like huge set of huge volume of highly structured data and turning it into much smaller compact, high fidelity data set that really gives the agent precise direction, because we really want to manage that agent's context window. So then if you could hop through to the next slide, please. So this is some of the companies that run our tech. If you could flip through to the next one, please, Len. So just taking a step back and thinking about the problem we want to solve, because it's a problem that actually isn't very well understood in the sort of agentic space. The problem is that if you go on the internet now and you try and engage with most of these customer-facing agents, so you go and find a retail site or a travel site or any kind of site where there is an agent that you can engage with, and there are more and more of these popping out, what you'll find is that the agents are blind. So in this, on the left-hand side of the slide, you see a sort of typical retail store, and there might be lots of different products. And what products are shown might be driven by a machine learning algorithm, personalization. And so there's all this customer intelligence powering that side of the application. But typically, the agent doesn't see or understand any of that. It just sits there dumbly blind and waiting. And if the user comes, the user starts talking to it, the user can say, hey, can you tell me about this product and this product? I'm not sure about this. The agent will give good answers because it understands the product catalog, but it won't have any idea who this user is. It won't have any idea what products that user's interacting with. It won't have any idea what their preferences are. And it'll be very, very passive. It'll only ever do anything if the user asks. And that makes the agent seem really stupid, even if it's powered by the kind of the latest GPT-5 or Opus models, because it's just lacking that relevant context, and it creates a lot of work for the customer. Customers explain, hey, I'm trying to buy this sort of product. I've looked at these three things, these three items. I can't choose between them because the agent's not figuring out any of that stuff by itself, and that's a real missed opportunity. And it's quite a jarring experience as a consumer. We expect our applications to be quite intelligent. That's been a kind of a secular trend for the last few years. And so Snowplow Signals solves this. So we provide a profile store, so a low latency store of customer intelligence that the agent can go and pull this customer data directly. It provides a primitive we call interventions. So you can define particular conditions in which you want the agent actually to proactively intervene in the customer journey. So say you're a clothing retailer and the customer is not sure what items to buy, and not sure what size to buy, and you can see them cycling through the different sizes. You might trigger the agent to pop up and say, hey, looks like you don't know what size to buy. Let me show you a size chart. Why don't you tell me what's your waist size, what's your leg size? And I can recommend, based on my knowledge of this brand, what the right size is. And there's a streaming engine, so we can compute all of this stuff in real time, which is really important. So the agent can see exactly what you're doing in this session. There's also a batch engine, so the customer information can be pulled from the lakehouse or the warehouse. And in this lab, we're going to focus on that real-time use case. We're going to focus on a travel site and a user sort of that's browsing around and exploring different destinations and travel-related content. And what's going to happen is Signals is going to build a profile of that user, make that profile available to the agent. So the agent understands, based on the user's behaviors, is somebody who's interested in beaches or going on holiday with their family, or it's a business trip, or those sorts of things, and then use that kind of context to color their answers and their support for the customer. Len, if we jump forwards one more. So this is the architecture. You've got the user engaging with the application on the left-hand side of the screen. Those events are then being processed by a Snowplow pipeline and a streaming engine. So streaming engine is computing these facts about the user and loading them into the profile API on the right. And then the application, the agent, is going and using tools, using the gateways, going and fetching those profiles and using that to deliver a better experience. And then the next slide, please, Len. Okay, and that's it. So sorry,
that's it.
I'll hand back to you, Len.
Okay, so thanks, Yali, for the great overview. Now we're going to, let's say, the fun part as well, which is the workshop. Before I give you guys access to the workshop, I want to explain what we'll be building. So this is the last task. I just want to confirm, does everyone see my screen, like the browser now? Can just someone comment on that? Yeah,
Looks
great.
good, Len.
Okay, so we'll be running this application. We have the travel assistant. So once you go through all the 6 labs, we'll be able to interact via this chat assistant. So that's what we'll be building. We'll be exploring Amazon Bedrock AgentCore. This is the final architecture, so we'll be able to build the runtime with observability, identity, AgentCore gateway, and do the integration with Snowplow. Cool. Let me start the event and share the link with you guys as well. So just bear with me. Chat. Everyone. So the link is on the chat. We'll be providing all the accounts, so you don't need to use your own AWS account. This environment will be running for the next 72 hours. If you guys face issues to log in, drop us a message here. We'll be tracking the chat. So basically, this is the initial page to get access. You can use the accept the terms. Yeah. Join event. In my case, I'm using my own AWS account, so you can use any email address. Let me show you a screenshot. Prerequisites. You can use the one-time password. You're gonna get the credential. We won't be using your email for anything. We don't store that. That's after the 72 hours, we destroy the whole environment. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes just to ensure that everybody managed to get to this initial page. Leo and Duncan, just help me to keep an eye on the messages, please. Okay, some thumbs up, which is great. Can also see people connecting. Oh, we've got 130 accounts, so feel free to use them. You can share with your work colleagues as well. If anyone wants to go through them tomorrow, Friday, it will be up and running. Just wait more for 2 minutes and then we can move on. Okay, great. Awesome. So once you have the access, you can open the AWS console by clicking on this link. We won't be using AWS CLI, so you don't need to worry. You don't need to copy any credentials. We've got SageMaker AI Studio available. So there is a notebook available on which we'll be connecting to be running the events. So whenever you're ready, you can connect. You can open the AWS console. We're doing that now. What's happening here? Okay, so let me log in once again. Excellent. So you guys should be able to open the AWS console. And then we're going to go through SageMaker AI. SageMaker Studio. We already created a profile for you. You can just open Studio, launch Personal Studio. All these things are also detailed here. Skip tour for now. We're gonna be using the Jupyter Lab. So we've got the notebook up and not running. You have to change the action to start it. Just see if people are connecting. Okay, great. See lots of people already connected. It's gonna take a couple of seconds or maybe 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so I'll just go through the steps we did again. Once you get access to this Workshop Studio page, you can open the AWS console. There you're gonna open the Amazon SageMaker AI. You go to SageMaker Studio, open the profile, which is already created, and then you'll be able to open the Jupyter Lab to connect to the notebook. Just hit start. It's gonna take a couple of minutes to prepare our space, and then you'll be able to connect there. Okay, AWS console. Open, search for Amazon SageMaker AI. And then you're gonna be the SageMaker Studio. We already created a profile for you, so you're gonna be using this AgentCore user, the only one available. Open Studio. It's gonna open this SageMaker Studio for you. Then you hit Jupyter Lab. We've got the space already created. Then we're gonna open. If you guys want to follow on your own pace, please go through the prerequisites. These are the steps that we are going through. We've got screenshot for everything. So we're here now in the Jupyter Lab. And accept. Awesome. So we've got the files here for Lab 1. So here you have two options. You can either follow through here, which I would recommend, because all the instructions are here, which are the same from the browser. So this is the initial architecture that we'll be building. I'll just slow down a little bit and wait for you guys to get to this page, and then we can begin. Just give me some feedback once you guys have hit this page, please.
Len, what's the name of the profile that people should select? The one that's already been created. There are a couple of folk in the in the chat who look like they haven't.
AgentCore user. That's going to be the profile. There's only one, yeah. So you don't need to create or change anything. Just open the one already there. Okay, so Vijaya, I'm still in the console home. Okay, so you're still here, right? So go on the search for SageMaker AI. Then you open it. You have to open applications and ideas, go to SageMaker Studio, and then you're gonna land on this page. Once you're there, you open Studio. And hit this one, launch Personal Studio. Okay, so you're gonna click the first option, Andrew. It's the first one, not the shared one. And then you land here in the Jupyter Lab, where you will be able to open your notebook. Okay, thumbs up, I'm in. I think we're good to carry on. Yeah, so I'm seeing some messages here about access denied. So these accounts don't have full access to all the services and features. It's more, let's say, tailored to AgentCore and Bedrock. So if you're doing API calls or if you're trying to open all the services, you're going to get the access denied. So just ensure we follow the instructions from here, from the prerequisites, because everything here has been tested and you have access to all API calls, to all services part of the workshop. So I believe Andre is opening something else that's not part of the workshop. That's why we're getting access denied. Cool. So I'll ask Duncan and Leo to keep an eye on the chat because I'll just move on. I'll explain what we are building for now. Lab 1, it's giving us some instructions just to create a simple agent. It's just a prototype, so this is not production ready. Firstly, we'll be building some tools to get destinations, get experience, and this is the architecture. Those tools will be able to talk with Bedrock and invoke the LLMs to provide some results. So again, this is not production ready. It's very simple. We're just starting to build some foundation and see how prototype agent would work. It's you can just run the commands. So there are lots of cells. Shift enter or just play. Just ignore the pip error. We're going to install some packages. So just keep providing us some feedback on the chat, please. Just wait for the output before you run the next cell. That's done. You don't need to restart the kernel in this. Let's import the libraries. Okay, Sharon, I'm on the Jupyter Lab homepage. Okay, so once you're here, click on Jupyter Lab. You have to start the space available for you. Once that's running, status running, you can just open and you'll be able to open these files. Okay, next one will be running the Boto session. Don't need to change anything. The region is US West 2. Awesome. So now we'll be creating the tools. We'll be creating the first tool. The get destination. You can run the command again. It gives you the output. So ensure you're getting the same output as me. This destination tool ready. Let's change for the next one. Get experience information. It's also being created. Moving to the next one. Web search tool ready. And now get Snowplow Signals. Don't need to change the API URL. It's already configured. It already syncs with Snowplow. So just run it to ready. And now it's time to create and configure the travel agent. Created successfully. We can test it now. So the prompt is very basic. What's the difference in weather between Bangkok and Hanoi at this time of year? And that's, as we said at the beginning, is just a prototype. It's just a basic agent without any context. It's just going to do the web search and give us some answer. Feel free to test. You can give it other places as well. You don't need to just follow. I would say maybe do once following the instructions, and after that you can start playing around. You can change the questions and so on. Awesome. So lab 1 is complete. I'll wait like for 2 minutes. I'll go through the chat and I'll wait for feedback to see if everybody has managed to achieve this. Just provide us some feedback, please, once you manage to finish lab 1, or if you got stuck somewhere.
Yeah, then any questions on lab 1, sort of, and they don't have to be technical, they can be kind of conceptual about what's going on and what's happening in each cell. Don't be shy to ask in the chat.
Yeah, any questions? We'll try to address all of them. Okay, are you, maybe for CRM, are you seeing anything here when you run this this prompt, this cell? If you haven't, ensure you have run all the cells for H2. So just to recap, I'll scroll all the way up. You need to ensure you create all these tools following those cells. You don't need to change anything in those lines. Ensure you install the libraries, import libraries, install all the packages as well. You must get the same output as me here. After that, you start implementing the tools. And the output for every cell for each tool, it's going to be this one. Destination tool ready, get experience info tool ready, and so on. If you're still facing the same issue, you can start over. Okay, excellent. No more questions, right? More thumbs up. I think we're good to change and move to lab 2. Okay, so now we'll be setting up Snowplow Signals. I'll ask Duncan to maybe share his screen and give us an overview for this step. I'll stop sharing my screen for now.
Perfect. Thank you, Len. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll jump right into it. So now that we've created our kind of basic agent, what we'll have to do now is configure Snowplow Signals to provide context to that agent. So what we're going to be doing is creating a Snowplow Signals sandbox environment. And this is going to ingest events as we navigate around that website that Len was showing. So as we're viewing different pages, searching for specific destinations, we're going to be ingesting those raw behavioral clickstream events, and Snowplow Signals in real time will calculate that up into a profile, which will then be served back into the agent that we're creating today. So on lab 2, just go ahead and come down to step 1. And the first thing that we're going to need to do is create our sandbox environment for Snowplow Signals. So go ahead and click on the link in step 1. That will bring you over to this page here. Let me go ahead and sign out. So you'll see something that looks like this, and there will be a purple sign up with GitHub button. So just go ahead and click that. You will need to provide your GitHub handle here. Don't worry, we're not doing anything nefarious in the background. So go ahead and click on this, and then that will prompt you to log in, and then ultimately start creating your sandbox environment here. So this will take roughly 5 minutes or so to spin up in the background, and I can just walk through some of the functions that are going on here while we wait for this to be kicked off. And I'll just ask Leo and maybe Yali to monitor the chat if anyone runs into any issues, but it should be relatively straightforward for you to set up. And then we'll just go ahead and get that started. So what is going to be turned on in the background are just some services that are going to, as I said, ingest events from that website. We are then going to walk through the lab and start to define what we call attribute groups for our streaming data. And this is going to tell Snowplow Signals, how do we want to take these raw behavioral events like pages that I'm viewing or specific filters that I'm turning on or off, and aggregate that up into a profile. So we're going to walk through that in a couple of minutes here. That will then be stored in our profile store, which will then be served up into an API endpoint bundled into what we call a service. So we'll create a service that has all of the relevant attributes that we're going to need for our use case on the travel website. And then we're going to connect that into the agent that we're building. We're going to get a couple of configuration details that we'll need for the lab today. We're going to need our collector URL. This is going to be the endpoint where we're that we already have configured in the background from our website. So that'll send the events here. Our profiles API is going to be where we're storing all of the profiles that we're aggregating, and then we have an authentication token as well. You can come back to the notebook here, and there's just a couple of dependencies and packages that we need to install. So you can just go ahead and run these first two lines here. And then we're just going to need to wait for our sandbox environment to be configured for us. And then we're just going to need to copy over a couple of those configuration details. So I already have mine set up here, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy these over. Got our collector URL here, so I can just paste those into the cells. Got our profiles API here as well. Just overwrite this. And our access token. I'll go ahead and I'll just pause and check the chat. See if anyone is running into any issues here. This does take a couple of minutes. Perfect. Yeah, we're playing the waiting game now. But while we're waiting, I'll just come down and we can talk through conceptually what we're going to do next while we wait for our credentials to be given to us. So the next step here is going to be defining, as I said, our attributes that we want to create that are going to tell the agent a little bit about the behavior that we've done on the website. So we're going to aggregate up this data in a way that's useful for our agent. And in Snowplow, we call those attributes. And our attributes can be defined in code here. Just at the top, we have a couple of variables that we're going to reference later on when we're creating some of our attributes. It essentially just takes some of the tags that are on the website and buckets them into some different types of personas for our users. So maybe if we're viewing destinations or activities that are specific to historical sites in Southeast Asia, or specific to temples, art, culture, we might want to classify ourselves as a cultural explorer. So we're just kind of defining the various groupings of tags that we're going to reference later. Then when I come down here, I can start to create my attribute groups. So we can start here. We have a very simple one, page view count. So counting the overall number of pages that I viewed. This could be an indicator of how engaged I am over the course of a session. So I'm essentially very simply specifying the type of event that I want to aggregate. And we're using a page view event. So using the event name, we're just classifying our page view events and then specifying how we want to aggregate these up into our attributes. So we're just doing a basic count here. We can do the same with some of our destination specific pages. So in this case, I'm using the same type of event, a page view event, with a filter. So we have our page URL path as a property to our events, and I want to use all of the events that have destination as that value, and we're going to count those up as well. So now we have two attribute groups here. And then we can start to define some more specific attributes that might be related to engagement around different types of destinations. So in this case, I have a count of all of the interactions with family-specific pages and tags. So I'm going to count up these attributes as well. So I have a couple of different events that we're going to aggregate here. We have our page view event again, which we're going to apply a filter to. And then we have our filter tag applied event. So later on in the session, when we look at our website, there's going to be the ability for us to filter on specific types of destinations and experiences. So we're going to capture those as behavioral events and use those as indicators for the preferences that we might have as users. So again, we're applying some filters. So in this case, when we apply when we have our filter tag applied event, we're going to use the events that only have the family value to our tag name property. And then we also have another property that we're going to use here. And we're going to essentially replicate this for all of the different types of groups that we have. So we have our cultural explorers here. So we're taking those same filter tag applied events and page view events, and we're going to use all of the relevant tags that we have defined, grouped at the top of this cell here to aggregate those into our various cultural explorer, family destinations, modern urbanites. We're essentially creating a couple of different types of profiles or personas that we're going to calculate. Let me just check the chat and see if we've got our environments provisioned. So just give me a thumbs up or a little note in the chat once we get access to our credentials here, and then we'll go ahead and advance through the rest of the lab here. Are we considering only explicit signals to define the profile? Yes, so that is what we are essentially defining here. We're taking some very specific sets of attributes, and we're going to aggregate those in different types of ways. Most of these are just going to be generic counts of the different types of events, but you can take averages of numeric values and look at the last value that was shown on a particular event. So it's really going to be driven by the use case that we have here. In this case, we're counting the various different types of events that we're defining here within our notebook and creating different attributes that are specific to our travel website. So I see that we're still provisioning, so I'll just give it another minute or two, and then we'll advance on through the rest of lab 2.
Yeah, thanks for your patience, everyone. I'm just checking with our team that all those accounts are being deployed as we speak. It can take 8 minutes.
Just as that's happening, kill the awkward silence, I'll jump back in, Yali, because I love speaking to founders and co-founders, man. So yeah, if you don't mind, seeing we're waiting 1 minute, tell us a bit. Obviously, Snowplow been running, as I say, you sponsored year 2, something like that, very well established, got a good reputation with what you do. What's the thinking around Signals? How did it come about? You know, where are we now, and perhaps where are you going with the product, if you don't mind?
No, not at all. So we started thinking about Signals back in January 2025. So we've been working on it for kind of 12 months now, and we'd always been doing this collection operationalization of the data. And so we saw companies using this data for analytics, so doing things like measuring marketing spend and optimizing which campaigns they were running. Product analytics, understanding what parts of how new features were being used and what that did for customer lifetime value, and then a whole bunch of machine learning use cases. I think like personalization, recommendation, fraud detection, because the data is so explanatory and predictive. But what we were thinking about was as the web and applications become more agentic and the agentic stuff is moving really, really fast, but it was really clear 12 months ago that digital experience was going to change a lot, and we're going to start seeing a lot more of these agents. That the agents would need this data, and that actually that wasn't a straightforward thing to do, because you've got to take all that high volume, high velocity data in real time and turn it into something meaningful that an agent can understand, that can fit in a context window. So that's the sort of the problem that we set out to solve in January, and what Duncan just walked through with the defining these different ways of aggregating the data is sort of our first attempt at helping companies take that massive data and turn it into something meaningful that an agent can understand. Actually, at the moment, we're working on the next iteration of the technology, and that's actually going to use agents as part of the data processing. So I think one of the participants asked, are you only looking at explicit signal? When you have an agent looking at the stream of data, the agent can start spotting patterns and drawing attention to facts that a product manager might not have necessarily defined up front, and flag that to an agent. So it's a lot more powerful, but it's a lot more technically complicated to sort of build that functionality. We're working really close with the folks at AWS who built some amazing primitives for building that, and that's the sort of next iteration.
Makes sense. I think at the beginning it caught my ear. I don't know if it was the right terminology there, but it caught my ear. I think you described it as like rocket fuel for the agents, and it makes loads of sense. And I must admit, for me personally, probably like many people, blooming agent pops up on the website at the minute and you're like, oh god, here we go sort of thing. But actually, when you bring in this context, and if it does start actually adding value to your experience as a consumer, then you're going to start wanting that. And again, the silly use case that it's not a silly use case at all, but a silly thought from me was, god, if I end up getting the right size clothes when I'm shopping online, like that's a win for AI. Society is improving. We are healing as a society because of getting the right size clothes. So yeah, mate, that's super cool. And again, I'm still provisioning, man. So you've got me for one more minute. Lewis is in the chat there. We'd love to have gone deeper. Lewis is dropping off. We've got a fan with this, man. So yeah, I think with these sessions, the beautiful thing with it is we were aware, I think, when we were putting it together, it's 2 hours out of people's day and all that type of stuff. But the resources are there. There's a reason that it's available for 3 days, and obviously it's been recorded and stuff like that. So do that. And I'll speak on behalf of the team as well, but ping them a little LinkedIn request. Why not? You've got their details, and connect with them and use their resources. But I think in terms of signals as well, this is going to be my last question, because I've been provisioned, so I think I'm going to crack on and finish the rest of the labs. But just in terms of signals, it definitely speaks to your business as well, that you're innovating within Snowplow, you're seeing these opportunities, and you're building that team. So this is just me, as I say, interested in talking to founders. What was that process like? Where did the idea come from? Was it from within the teams and it kind of got out there, or how did it come about?
Well, it's hard to know exactly. I mean, I personally spend a lot of time talking to lots of customers, prospects, partners. One of the funnest things about sort of starting company is the opportunity to just meet so many people and talk about the way the industry is going, and try and think about what the future could look like, and then what makes it difficult. So if we think something is exciting, I think we were really excited at the idea of agents that can really be empathetic, can understand people, and so in a much better position to help people. Well, what's hard about that empathy? And we could see lots of really smart people building things like memory and all the other kind of components that an agent needs to be effective. But we saw a gap in that kind of, we call it digital perception. Like the agent can't necessarily see what's going on. So I think really the source of it is thinking of an agent as a person, and what's all the things that a person needs to be sort of successful and helpful, and then trying to replicate that in the digital world. And perception felt like a real a gap, but a snowplow shaped gap, because we have that data to power that perception. So that felt like a natural place to go with the tech.
Superb. Superb, mate. Love it, Yali. Wish you all the best for it as well. We'll talk a bit more towards the end. And Len's
Thanks, Dave.
chasing me on now. He's going, come on, Dave, get out of the way. But yeah, I'm provisioned. I've seen a few more people. So I'll hand back to you, Duncan. But yeah, thank you for that.
Awesome. Thanks, David. So now that we've been provisioned, we'll just need to grab these configuration details that you now have at the bottom of your screen here and plug them into the notebook here. There's a couple of variables already defined for us, so just go ahead and pop them in there. And then we can go ahead and continue on. Don't need to make any changes, so we can just play the rest of these cells here and go ahead and run them. I will probably start to get some errors here. You guys shouldn't, but I've already ran through this lab a couple of times. So it'll essentially say that I've already published an attribute and service with this name. Go ahead and just continue on. You shouldn't receive any of these errors. So once we define our attributes and our attribute groups and our services here, all we're going to need to do is then publish through some sample data. We can see if everything that we've done is being aggregated in a way that we expect. So on step 3 here, after we've published all of our attribute groups, we can go ahead and push some events through. Looks like I need to define a collector URL. Let me head back up and paste this in. Fantastic. Let me get the pop-ups out of the way here. Run that. And we'll come back down. And we'll send some sample data. Perfect. So we sent through 5 of our events. These are all going to be page view events. And what we can do now is call out to our Signals API and return the attribute groups that we just created here. So we can see that I have created what we called our travel service, which nicely packages up all of the attribute groups that we created. So when I go ahead and call this, I'll be able to see all of our different attribute groups here, aggregated based on our session identifier. And I can see that I've sent through some sample events here. We've got 20 different page views that have been included in our page view account. So our attribute groups are created properly, and we can go ahead and then continue on with the rest of the lab and then connect this to the agent that we're going to create and then see it all come together when we start firing some real data using that website that Len flashed up at the beginning. But I'll go ahead and pass it back to you, Len, and we can cover off on this. If anyone has any questions, throw them into the chat here, but should be relatively straightforward. Nothing you need to create or configure aside from just putting in your variables up here at the top that you were given in the Signal sandbox.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. I ran into the same issue because I had already using the token for my other lab, but I just created a new one. Let me share my screen. And it's always good to have another environment fully working. So that's it. Please keep an eye on the chat. So I guess everybody has finished lab 2. So now we'll be moving to lab 3. To recap what we've done, we've created the prototype. We tested it worked. Now we did we added the Snowplow signals, and now we'll be using the memory. We're gonna give some context for our agent. In terms of the architecture, we already had the LLMs. We created the tools. Now we'll be using the AgentCore memory. All right. To start with, we'll be importing some libraries. You just run the cell. I've already done that. The step 2, it's where we'll be creating the memory. So this is gonna take like 2 to 3 minutes for you to create the long-term memory and short-term memory. Just to give you some context again, the short-term memory stores conversation context within the session. It's more, let's say, a raw memory. The intelligent memory we call the long-term. which has some meaningful partners, preferences, and facts. So we can just run this one. Then I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to see this output. So it's gonna tell you that the memory has been created successfully, and it's going to give you memory ID as well. Let me know if you guys have achieved this step. Something interesting, you can open the console, can open the AgentCore service. These resources we're creating via the notebook are also created, will be reflected here. So after that, you'll be able to see the runtime, the memory, the gateway. They will be available for you via the AWS console. Awesome. Are there any comments, questions, issues on the chat? Not yet. All good, thanks. Okay, let me see if I got a new one. Not yet. I'll wait for more 1 minute before we move on. Okay, step 3, we're gonna be seeding previous customers' interactions. As this is not in production, we don't have historical conversation. So we'll be doing that, we'll be seeding the long-term memory. So you can run the next cell. It's gonna provide some previous interactions. For example, I'd love to go and visit somewhere warm. I can help with that for warm destination and so on. So you can run the next one and you should see the same output as me here. The memory ID, seed customer history successfully. Just give me some feedback before we move to the next task. Okay, awesome. Okay, how are we going? Are you guys facing an issue? Or it's all good? So far so good? Okay, so I'll move on to the next. What's happening? Okay, so you can run the last cell. The last cell is going to give us the contest based on what we had seeded. So it's going to take a couple of seconds, but then you're going to get this output as well. Let me know if you guys got the same. It's going to build the context for you, and the output will be what we had informed as a seed. So the user mentioned wanted to visit somewhere warm. So you should see this outcome as well, which is now populated into the long-term memory. Just give me some thumbs up before we move to lab 4. Once again, folks, this will be running for the next 72 hours. So if you want to go through this again at your own pace, change a few things, break it, build again, it's up to you. It's available. You can do so. There's no problem with that. So maybe you can go at your own pace and understand more things in details, because it's a lot to grasp in, let's say, 1 hour and a half. Okay, David. So when you create the memory, it gives you a memory ID and also this output. So we're telling you to print the memory ID and the status of that request. So you should be seeing this as well for the other cell. It can take a couple of minutes. So if you haven't got any error and it's still running, maybe that's the case. It's still building the memory for you. You could also go to the console. You can go to your memory. You'd be able to see the memories created. Excellent. Moving on. We did this. So now we can explore the semantic memory. Once you run the next cell, it's going to give you the details that we had informed. So you should see these factual details from previous conversations, that the user prefers destination for travel, the activities with family, and that the user is interested in adventurous experience. Let me know if you guys saw the same output as me. Leo, any questions that I missed or comments? Oh, Duncan, I don't know if you guys are tracking the chat for me as well.
I'm watching it, Len. Nagesh has said no output while executing each step. You're not seeing, Nagesh, the same output that Len is sharing on his screen.
Yeah, Nagesh, can you perhaps tell us which cell are you running? Because some cells don't give you an output, but this one for the memory should give you, like the memory ID, the output from previous conversations. Just be a bit more specific and it will help you.
And then Len Andrews asked a conceptual question. So if you've got thousands of people on a website engaging with an agent, how do you scale the handling of memory?
Yeah, at the moment, this is a prototype. It's basic. We're not ready to handle multiple users, but when it comes to production, you'll be able to be using the scalability that it comes. I mentioned about the session isolation as well, so it provides dedicated memory, dedicated compute per session, and then that can scale to the agents. We'll be exploring that, I think, in lab 5 or 6. Okay, so I'll move on just to ensure that we go through the others. I'll be waiting for Nagesh. Go to exploring semantic. Okay, so you got it here. Okay, after that, you have to implement strands hooks to save and retrieve agent interactions. So you can run the next cell. Let me run this one again. I don't remember. I don't think this one has, this one doesn't have any output. But the next one, you create a travel. Now we're going to create the travel agent with the memory. And we have to, it's going to specify that class for the memory hooks. So we can run this. No output either for those two previous cells. And now it's where we can start testing this personalized agent. you can run. That's going to use all the seeded information, and that's going to be tailored according to those details. Please provide us feedback if you manage to get the output from the agent with the memory. Okay, thanks, Nagash. You got the output. That's great, Jason. Same. Okay, so I think we're good to go. All right, so let's go to the next one. Now we'll be using the AgentCore gateway. We spoke about this as being a bridge to communicate or to talk to other tools, Lambda functions, for example, using the MCP protocol. To recap what we've done, we have already created the agent prototype. We have added the Snowplow signals. We've done some enhancement with memory, and now we got a scale with gateway, and also be using the identity. Awesome. This is the architecture diagram, the other components we are adding to this solution. Prerequisites you don't need to read. So first thing, you can install the required packages. So we'll be using Strands Agents. Don't need to restart the kernel, just ignore that message. Import the libraries. It's going to give you this output as successfully imported. There are the Lambda functions. They are already created. If you want to open them here, you can open. You can see the details, what is configured there. But it's just give you an explanation what it does, what each Lambda function does. Like for this one, that will convert the web search to MCP to make that compatible, so that the gateway can access. Step 4, create your function definition metadata. These are already created, so you don't need to create. We already built that for you to save time. Okay, once you understood those steps, you can go and create your AgentCore gateway. You can run this cell. Don't worry about the error. You're gonna get this. But because we don't have secrets in secrets manager yet, so when you run this for the first time, you're gonna get the error. So completely ignore that and carry on. And let me know if you see these two lines that mentions the secret has been created in the specific region, and also the gateway must be created. I need to give you the gateway ID. So wait for you guys to give me some feedback on this one. Secrets created. Thanks, Andrew. David. Wait more for 1 minute, and then we can move on. Excellent, Sharon. Thank you. And now the gateway will make sure that we can do communication with those endpoints, which it's powered by the Lambda function. So now we're going to add the Lambda function as a target. So if for those who have finished, you can carry on and run the next cell. Once again, there is an error, so just ignore that. That's fine, because while it's creating the target, you're going to be seeing that as an output. Just carry on. And yeah, we're glad to know that you guys are making progress. It's been awesome. Let me know if you got the gateway target created. It's going to give you an output with an ID. Great. We can move to the next one. Got the gateway endpoint, great. We'll integrate that with authentication token. So you can run the next cell to set up the MCP client object. It's going to give you a gateway endpoint URL. Something interesting. If you guys want later on to use different model IDs, you can. At the moment, we're using Anthropic. You can go to the AWS console, open the Bedrock, and you can use any other model that you want to experiment. For now, leave it as it is, but later on you can do it just to see how a different model will give you a different output. So that would be an interesting exercise to do if you want to. Once you run the cell, it's going to give you that the travel agent has been created successfully. So now we've got the gateway, the memory as well.
Hey,
Then
Len, on this step,
Mhm.
I think this is where the
yeah.
get signals tool reference is commented
Yes.
out. So that's one change we might want to make here is if we did successfully set up the signals environment, the get signals tool will want to just remove that comment here before running the cell.
Oh, excellent. Thanks for that, Amy. So step 7.2, scroll down to tools and ensure you uncomment this last one.
And I think there's one point on the next lab as well. We'll need to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thanks, Len.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so please just ensure you uncomment this get signals line in the step 7.2. Just give me some thumbs up again or some emojis, and then I know you guys have done it so that I can carry on. So, and then run the cell again once you remove it. Yeah, I got the same error. So let's test. Let's go to step 8 and see what's going to be the output, because I had this one running, up and running before. Okay. Something else, you guys, later on, you can change the prompt. If you want to test something else, please do so. Let me know if you guys got the output or if you're still getting issues. Maybe Andrew, can you let me know the output you got now before we move to lab 5? I think we'll be able to finish that, yeah. Okay, got the output, great. Yes, I'll just wait for another yes before we move on. Yeah, so because we had it running, we got some error, but you still get the output. So the agent is still working and still using the gateway with the memory that we had set up. So no issues. So it's going to give you an output. I won't read everything, but you can read that later. But it's going to give you the where to see memory SageMaker. Okay, so once you open the AWS, go back to the AWS console, you can open the AgentCore service. This is for Will. So we're doing we're running those cells that are executing the API calls. So under the hood, you'll be able to see the services that are built. So here you'll be able to see the memory that we created, the gateway, runtime. Awesome. Okay, so we move on to lab 05. So now we'll be able to use the runtime with observability. This is going to be better for production. It's going to be more well architected. The architecture is this one. So the CloudWatch will be tracking traces, agent details, metrics, and so on. We'll be able to see that on CloudWatch. Please import the required libraries. You should see this output, the memory. Now let's prepare our agent for AgentCore runtime. I forgot who asked about the session scalability, but the runtime will offer us those features. As I said, for the session isolation, compute memory, we don't need to manage the infrastructure. That's coming from the managed service. Duncan, do you have any comment, anything so far?
No, this is all looking good. I think it's this step 2 though, where the other comment lives. So if we scroll down a little bit, we should see it towards the bottom. Yep, there it is under tools.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so let me scroll up and go through this again. Step 2, now that we prepare our agent for the runtime, before you run, ensure you uncomment these get signals. It's under tools as well. Step 2, under tools, uncomment get signals, and then you can run the cell. Okay, I'll run that again. Nice. So I'll move on. We're now going to deploy that to runtime. I spoke about the Docker file, so we'll be deploying the containers for us. That's stored in the ECR, the Amazon repository. So you can run the next cell. It's going to give you this access token. Once you're done, you can run the next one. That will create the IAM role with all the permissions. The policy as well will be in place. That will allow the container to use that policy for the access that it needs. Let me know if you managed to create the role and if you got the similar output with different IDs for every service you have created. You can ignore this warning as well for the platform mismatch. This is not a problem. You need to still deploy the container for us. We'll just wait a couple of minutes. Thanks, David. So all the AgentCore runtime components will be deployed for us. And these are the components, the repository, the agent, the endpoint. For every environment, endpoints are deployed, so that makes it very secure, and the communication has to go through the endpoints. Okay, so if you have succeeded, which I would say so, you can launch the agent, and you have to get this output as well. It's going to give you all the details for the memory, the new memory created, the repository. Let me know if you guys got this. This may take a couple of minutes, but I'll give you some minutes. And then you have to get the ARN for your runtime. Once you've done this, we have our runtime built successfully. Okay, any issues or so far so good? Okay. Yeah, so it's fine. You can carry on. The platform mismatch you got, the error you got, won't stop the building, so that's completely fine. You can carry on. You can ignore this warning. Yes, so it's not an issue. It's just a warning because we have defined a different platform. But that's completely fine. It won't break or it won't stop us building the runtime, so you can carry on. I hope that answers your question. Great. Thanks, David, once again, for being so active, giving us some feedback. Okay. So you can check deployment status. You can run the next cell. You'll be giving this output as the memory. It's ready. The same for the runtime. Once it's ready, just let me know. We'll be able to move on and start the AgentCore toolkit. So here it's where it's going to be creating the session ID for us, so that the agents can use that. So we can run the first one. You can initialize the AgentCore control client, and you're going to get this a similar ID. And then I'll run the next cell. Oh, that one is not working. Let me try again. Yeah, so this one I did yesterday. I changed a few things. I don't think what's wrong. Token. Oh yeah, I'll have to go through the authentication again, generate a new token, but we'll carry on so that we can finish. We still got a couple of minutes. Step 4, cell 8. Let me see that for you, Sharon. Step 3. Step 4. Yeah, so you guys shouldn't be getting the same output as me because you have new token. I think the token is valid for 2 hours for the authentication. That's why I'm getting this error because I did it yesterday. So I would have to run some cells, but I'll just carry on so that we can go through lab 5 and 6. So after that, you can run the next cell. The next cell, it's going to be more detailed. Let me know if you guys got a similar output like this, and that it will give you the answer for the next 2 months. We'll do that comparison for you. Duncan, do you have the local VM up and running for Lab 6?
Yep, I'm getting that stood up right now.
Okay. Okay. When you the next cell allows you to invoke the agent with a new user. So that's how it's going to be create a new session. So as users invoke agents, new sessions are created per user, and that's all managed by us. So no need to manage the infrastructure. It's like the service itself manages those resources. So you can run this. You're going to have a different output for a different user. Let me know if you if are able to achieve this. Excellent, thanks. So now we can open the AgentCore observability. So if you go to your console and you open CloudWatch, there is the GenAI observability page. I won't spend much time in that one because we want to save a couple of minutes to close the event. But this is just for you to visualize the metrics, graphs, the details about the agents. So you can do that later on. You don't need to do it now. There is an option to see the sessions as well. You can see how many sessions are created, the traces, if there is any error or throttles, latency, which is also important. So later on, please go through CloudWatch. All the screenshots here show you which pages you should open to test to see that. So if you're successful, we have the agent now production ready. Let me know if you guys are facing any issues. And now we're gonna see that in a web application in that website. We're gonna go to Lab 6. So I'll ask Duncan to give us a demo as you got the agent up and running. So this is what we have built so far. We'll be testing now the integration with Signals. Awesome, thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Len. Let me go ahead and share my screen once again. Okay. So just to give you a bit of a preview for what we are going to do just really quickly, you can also do this after we wrap up the session today. But Lab 6 brings everything together with a nice demo environment for us. So we can take that agent that we just deployed and is ready, and we can generate some of the various parameters that we might need to plug in to our application, which I have running over here. So this is a front end that we provide a Docker container for. So coming over here after you generate or compile the relevant details that we're going to need to plug in to our environment. There's then a couple of steps here where you can run the application locally, the travel agent. You can either use Docker if you have that running, are available, or a couple of these alternatives, Rancher and Kalima for Windows and Mac. I won't walk through all of the steps here, but it's then quite simple to launch the travel front end. We've got a command here that you can run locally from your terminal, and that then starts the travel agent website on port 3000 here. So you can just go over to localhost 3000, and we have our Southeast Asia Explorer website here. And then we'll just need to input a couple of things into our settings panels up here. For Snowplow Signals, it's just those same 3 collector URL, profiles, API URL, and sandbox tokens. This is just so that we know where to send all of our events to as we're navigating around the site, as we're viewing different pages, changing filters. This sends all of those events to our sandbox environment, and then we can plug in all of our AgentCore details. And all of this is presented for us really nicely from running this first command here. So we can just copy all of these details over. I can just make sure that I've got the right ones in here. AgentCore. A lot of these are generic, so you can use the default ones for US West 2, AgentCore, Strands Travel Agent. The Bedrock, ARN, user pool ID, and Cognito client ID are the ones that you'll want to grab specifically from this prompt. So I'll just go ahead and walk through, grab these, copy them in, and then we'll be able to log in, paste these into our website, save that, and then jump over to sign in. And scrolling down here, after we enter in all of that information, we can then log in and authenticate for invoking the agent. There's a username and password for us. It is test user, and then my password, my password 123 exclamation point. I have run into this issue a couple of times, Len, about the user pool authentication not configured. I typically then have to come back to lab 5 and then run through launching the agent again. I don't know if that's something that you've encountered, but I have run into this a couple of times over the past couple of days going through the workshop.
Oh, I didn't get that error.
Yeah, typically I just need to be quick after running through all of these steps here. I don't know if you have it open on your side, but I have ran into this a couple of times. And then this is unfortunately the last thing that we need to enter in before we can then start interacting with our travel assistant down here. If I try and put in a message without being logged in, I get a prompt asking me to authenticate. But just while that spins up in the background, I can show you what is being calculated here on the Snowplow Signals side of things. I'm going to open up a Chrome extension that we offer at Snowplow, which is our Signals in Snowplow Signals Inspector. And what this allows me to do is see the behavioral events get triggered in real time as I navigate around the site here. So as I go to different pages and click on different things, we'll see all of the raw events. And these are what are going to get aggregated up into our attributes that we configured in Lab 2. So as I navigate around and view different pages and maybe configure some of our filters here, I'll just make this a little bit smaller so we can see what's happening in tandem. But we'll say that I'm interested in a family destination and beach vacation specifically. And we'll see that as I apply those filters, we're firing events that represent that filter tag being applied. And if I click into this event itself, I can see some of the properties that we're actually going to be aggregating or building into those attributes that we were looking at before. And you don't necessarily need to have the Signals Inspector to see this. If you jump over to the console, you'll be able to see us retrieving the objects over here. So I can see as I'm viewing different pages, we're aggregating that into these different attributes that we calculated before. I'll go ahead and just navigate around so that we can bring through a new one. And we'll see that as I apply those different filters, those got counted into some of our user groupings that we had before. So I'm being classed as an individual interested in a family fun vacation. I viewed 4 different pages. I'm a tranquil seeker, and this is all being calculated in real time dynamically based on the tags that I'm selecting. I'm interested in a family vacation and beaches, and that's kind of calculating my persona here, which is then being fed into Snowplow Signals and then into our agent as well. I'm just going to go ahead and try and sign in one more time. See if I get lucky. Nope, I'm still getting that issue here. Let me just make sure everything's deployed. Everything's saying it's ready. Let me just run through the code here real quickly one more time. That looks good. And then I'll refresh the page and try this again. Test user. My password 123. There we go. And we're in. So now that we've got everything connected, I can start to interact with my Signals travel assistant here. So what I'm going to do, I've already been browsing around. We've seen that we've calculated up a persona based on my browsing behavior. What I'm going to do is then ask our travel agent here a question. Can you please recommend me a holiday? So rather than getting a generic response, I should be able to then incorporate that real-time browsing behavior into the response that I'm given, while taking into account all of the seeded context that we've already provided over the course of the lab. So we'll just wait for a response here. Here we go, and we can see that we're being recommended some of our destinations based on this browsing activity. So it thinks that I might like Thailand, the vibrant city life, the island paradises, the beaches. So really, really nice, providing the context for us there of my browsing activity based on all of the context that we're calculating in real time with Snowplow Signals. I want to be conscious of time. We've got a couple of minutes left here. Len, was there anything that you wanted to call out or cover before we wrap up?
No, I think we've covered everything. I'm keeping an eye on the chat. I don't see any new question. So I think we're good for now. I'll just quickly take control over. And I ask everyone, if you guys can please provide us some feedback. So I dropped the link here on the chat for this survey, or you can just scan this QR code. Anything for let's say if you'd like to experiment new feature, anything that can improve in terms of slides or lab, we appreciate the feedback. You can collect those to keep improving the sessions. Awesome. Yeah, so I think that's all. We've hit the end. Dave, is there anything that you want to mention for us to close?
I've always got something more to say, Len. No, I'm just going to finish by saying thank you, man. You guys have been absolute superstars, obviously. Len, Yali, Duncan, Leo. Leo, come, man. Stick your camera on as well. If possible, actually, I'll leave that up there for a second. Yeah, if I can see some emojis coming up, which I'd love to see. If you've got any comments, please do stick them in the chat. I think in terms of today, super rewarding. I kind of said it at the beginning, it's a lot of work to pull this together. So it's really, really appreciated. The quality of your delivery is clearly exceptional, because I managed to get myself through 5 or 6 labs, which was really nice. In terms of that, Jason Mack saying thanks, folks. Andrew Middleton, you've been awesome as well in the chat. There's been a number of you I can see following along, being really interactive. So when you're delivering a session like this, it's really nice to know that people are out there and giving you a little bit of feedback. In terms of that, I'm going to save the last comment. I think I mentioned at the start to Snowplow. We are a free community. We can't be here without companies like Snowplow supporting us. Clearly forward thinking in 2019 or whatever it was that you first sponsored us, and to have you back in 2026, clearly innovating and building is just magic for me. So I'll maybe hand over to you, Yali, just for the final word from your side. How did you find today? Did you enjoy it? Are you happy with everything? What was your feelings in being involved in all this?
No, look, really delighted to be involved in this. It's so nice to have so many people come and attend a session like this. I would say big thanks to Len and the team at AWS for making all of this, the accounts available. I think it's a great opportunity for everybody to learn how to build production agents. There were a few questions about that, which was super cool.
I'm expecting to see this on the Jet2 website very soon, Andrew. I'm 90% sure that's where Andrew works. So there you go. You lot should talk to each other because it's going to be super useful. But yeah, in terms of today, I will draw it to a close. Thank you very much to everyone that's joined us wherever you are in the world. Really appreciate you being part of the community. We have more stuff happening, so please do check it all out. If you're in the UK, I appreciate not all of you are. Our birthday conference is in May. It's party themed. We've got cake, we've got Prosecco, so you definitely got to check that out. But yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you to the whole team for delivering this awesome session. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the day wherever you are. So yeah, thanks and goodbye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.